What's up, guys? It's Andrew Santos. It's Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. I'm giving you my UFC Fight Night Santos versus Walker predictions. This event takes place in Las Vegas, Nevada, from the Apex, also known as UFC Vegas 38. Prelims start at 4 p.m., so in about 4 hours, the prelims will be starting. We did lose a fight yesterday. Aspen Ladd came in heavy on the scale, and fight was canceled. Unfortunately, I think she's going to need to move up to featherweight. Maybe give that featherweight division some depth, a little bit of depth, even though there's not many fighters there regardless. But she's shown time and time again that it's not safe for her to make the bantamweight limit, so she definitely needs to move up. I don't think the UFC is going to tolerate that no more, and she shouldn't want to make drastic weight cuts anyhow. Obviously, she's a little big. She's a bigger girl, and she just can't do it, so nothing wrong with that, but you need to move up a division. So yeah, this fight's lost a few fights. The Alex Hernandez fight, he's got a new opponent. The crew fight's on another card. Soriano Padillo's not on this card, and Fiora Dawson aren't on this card. Dawson's got a new opponent for another card. So first fight of the night, we have Alejandro Perez against Johnny Eduardo. Eduardo hasn't fought in 3 years. Perez hasn't fought in over 2 years. Let's look at the betting odds. Perez is currently a minus 230 on 5 dimes. Eduardo plus 210. I mean, this is. What are you gonna say about this, man? I mean, how could you lay the chalk on the favorite right here? Yeah, he beat Wyman, he beat Lopez. Eduardo's a tough out for anybody, man. I mean, I'm gonna take Perez by decision here, but I mean, he's gonna have to weather a storm, I imagine, from Eduardo. So, yeah, I don't have no money on it or nothing like that, but I'm gonna take Perez by decision. Zero confidence. Shannon Young against Stephanie Edgar. I did, I know Edgar did lose to Tracy Cortez in her last outing, but I mean, she did come out aggressive. She is Swiss, and I do think that she's probably the better fighter here against Shannon Young, who did lose in the UFC to Macy Chiazon. I don't even remember that. Almost 2 years ago. But I'm going to go with Edgar here. I'm going to pick Stephanie Edgar here by decision. She's currently a minus 135. It's a low-level women's mixed martial arts fight, guys. I would not recommend betting on it, but my official pick will be Edgar here by decision. Douglas Andraj against Gatiano Perolo. I know Perolo made his UFC debut earlier this year. I want to say against Ricky Simon. But he did, yeah, he lost by arm triangle. So he's a striker, 29 years old, Belgium. And like I said, he's had a great regional record over in Europe. Like I said, he's a good striker, and he's going up against another hard striker in Douglas de Andrade. Douglas de Silva Andrade. Was coming off a loss to Lerone Murphy earlier this year. No shame in that. We know what Lerone Murphy is. He's a superb UK talent. He's shown that. Beat Henning Barral before that. Lost to Peter Yan. Beat Marlon Vera. He's had a tough go, man. This guy's fought some of the top UFC bantamweights on the roster. And I'm gonna go with Andrade here by decision. Again, this is some other skewed odds. He's a minus 240. Comeback on Perolo is plus 220. I would not be surprised to see some upsets here, man. You're matching two low-level strikers up against each other. So how could you feel confident laying the price on the favorite? A fight that I am looking forward to in the men's lightweight division. We have Jamie Mullarkey against Devonta Smith. Let's talk about Mullarkey first. Mullarkey coming off a win. Nice win over Karma Worthy in his last fight. I mean, he destroyed Karma Worthy very early in that fight, 46 seconds into the first round. Worthy doesn't have a chin, man. Worthy was coming off a knockout loss anyhow prior to that, I believe. And he just didn't look right just getting into the cage. tough loss to Faraz ZM. A lot of people thought that Malarkey might have deserved that decision. Of course, he made his UFC debut against Brad Rydell. You know, two Aussies that fought on that Adesanya Whitaker, or that Whitaker Adesanya card back in October 19. So I mean, Malarkey's definitely becoming. I think the UFC definitely likes this guy. This guy's definitely an exciting fighter, and he brings it every time he's in the cage. Devonta Smith, he's coming off a nice win over Justin James, which he was supposed to do. You know, but he was coming off a loss prior to that to Karma Worthy. You know, he was a huge favorite in that fight too. Okay, so you know, I mean, so you know, the book's still out for Devonta Smith. It's a close line, I believe. Let's take a look at the line. Yes, Devonta Smith is currently a minus 135, plus 125. They know Malarkey's gonna bring it to Smith, man. They're gonna see what Smith's all about in this fight, man. Don't be surprised if Malarkey pulls the upset. My pick will be Smith here by decision, man. But I am looking forward to this fight. Malarkey wins, all credit to him, man. I'm looking forward to this. Beth Correa's retirement fight. And she's going up against Rosa here, man. A fight that I could just give a fuck less about, man. I mean, Beth Correa, I think she should have been cut from the UFC. She came in heavy for this fight. Retirement fight, and she weighs in at 138.5. I mean, just absolutely disgusting, man. I mean, just... You know, take your fucking training serious, you know. I mean, but that's to me, that's just telling me that she needs all the unfair advantages she can get and she's trying to get a win in her last fight. It's only going to benefit her. 38 years old, 1 fight losing streak. She picked up a win over Ciara Eubanks prior to that. Eubanks is down at flyweight now, and she looked really good her last fight. Eubanks did. Like I said, not much to say here about Correa. I'm not high on her. I'm gonna be glad when she's gone from the UFC. You know, she's just a one-trick pony, and she just placed on her mouthpiece and throws. Rosa, 5-fight win streak. Fought earlier this year. Picked up a nice win over Jocelyn Edwards, who's a recent UFC signee. Vanessa Mello. It was a sketchy 3rd round. That Mellow fight, but she picked up the win. I'm going to pick Rosa here. I think with Beth Correa's retired, she's going to try to bring it. Don't know what she's really going to have to offer. Rosa is currently a minus 570 on 5 times right now. The return on Correa is plus 480. But my pick will be Rosa here by decision. A fight that I'm really looking forward to. Between women's flyweights, we have Valentina Shevchenko against Casey O'Neill. Man, Valentina's sister, she is still, she's shown that she cannot reach the upper echelons of that division. But man, Valentina can pass anything onto her. She can definitely be a top 10 fighter. But she's coming off a loss to Andrea Lee in her last fight. It was just disappointing. Andrea Lee was on a 3-fight losing streak, I think, prior to that. Destroyed Ariane Lipski prior to that. So she's been on a win 1, lose 1 type losing streak. Beat Pudilova prior, you know. But I mean, she also lost to Roxanne Modafferi in Russia, I believe. I mean, this is a few years ago, but you know. And then we got Casey O'Neill right here, man, who's I think is man. She's a great talent, man. She's Scottish. I think she might be. I don't know if she might be training in the States now. But destroyed Laura Procopio in their last fight. That was 1-1, I think, going into the 3rd. But O'Neill had the gas tank and all that. Beat Shayna Dobson prior to that. I think she retired Shayna Dobson. And, picked up a win over UFC vet Christina Stavululu. UAE Warriors 13, but I'm gonna go with I'm gonna say the train keeps rolling here on O'Neill. I do like Valentina Shevchenko. I mean, she is kind of like a gatekeeper, I think, in the women's fight. But I think O'Neill, man, could be. I mean, they can groom this girl to be a talent, man. She's got a great ground game and whatnot. The current odds are Casey O'Neill, minus 215. Comeback on Shevchenko, plus 195. I'm gonna go with O'Neill here. I'm gonna say O'Neill picks up a submission or a decision win here. Next up, we have Joe Solecki against Jared Gordon. Not really sold on Gordon, man. He fought a couple times at featherweight. Didn't even make the featherweight weight his last time out against Danny Chavez, which is just unfair. I mean, I think he weighed in at 150, man. He had no business even being down at featherweight. I think he just did it as a career stall, just so he wouldn't get cut. He was getting ran through at fucking lightweight, and now they're giving him more of a grappler type setup here. And Joe Solecki, he's on a roll, man. He beat Jim Miller his last fight, Austin Hubbard before that, Matt Wyman. He's taking out all these older guys, man. I'm gonna go with Solecki here. Just not real high on Gordon, man. Just not. Gordon has been attracting a lot of money in this fight. But like I said, Solecki is currently a minus 122. Come back on Gordon, plus 112. But I'm going to go with Solecki here by decision. Just not a big believer in Jared Gordon. On the main card, we have Alexander Hernandez against Mike Breeden. Boy, would this be some deja vu if Mike Breeden came in here and knocked out Alexander Hernandez in his UFC debut, kind of like Hernandez did to Dariush. Breeden's on a 2-fight win streak. Don't know much about him. Looks like a striker. So I mean, he's gonna bring it, man. He's 5'10", big guy for the weight class, 70-inch reach. Against Alexander Hernandez, a guy that we don't really even know what this guy. This guy's coming off a loss to Thiago Moises his last fight. No shame in that. Moises is a gamer. He showed that in his loss to Islam Makhachev. Just having the courage to even fight Makhachev, that tells me what kind of fighter you are. Nothing but respect to Moises. So Hernandez is coming off a loss to him. Beat Grutzmacher his last fight, and Grutzmacher has shown that if you can't put him out early, he will storm back and put it on you. Lost to Drew Dober prior to that. I remember watching that fight. That was a great fight. As far as where there's just, I think that's what made Hernandez move out and start training in Colorado. Picked up wins, lost to Cerrone. Man, that's a bad loss on your record, not having that. But Cerrone was still pretty good at the time. But I'm going to go with Hernandez here by decision. Hernandez, I don't think he finishes Breeden. But, I mean, I have zero confidence in Alexander Hernandez, man. I just don't. Hernandez is currently a minus 525 on 5 dimes and currently a minus 700 on BetOnline. I would stay away from this, guys. There's always the possibility of the upset here. Mike Breeden is coming in here to upset this guy. It's his UFC debut. He's gonna want to make a name, but I'm gonna go with Hernandez here. Next up, we have Christoph Jacko against Misha Cirkunov. A lot of money is coming on Cirkunov, and I'm actually on the Cirkunov side as well. No betting action on it for me, but the odds are currently Jacko minus 130, Cirkunov plus 120. Cirkunov looked really good on the scales, man. I'm so glad this guy is fighting at middleweight now. Hopefully his cardio can hold up. Hopefully his chin can hold up. But the guy's been around in the UFC since at least 2016. Since fucking 2015, man. Unbelievable. This guy has, and he went on a hell of a run. He beat Krylov, which I remember was a great prospect fight at the time. Beat Kudalaba. Obviously lost to Volkan. No shame in that. He was a huge favorite. He was a fucking huge favorite in that fight too. Minus 400. That's when Volkan kind of really made a name for himself. Lost to Glover in a back and forth first round. Beat Patrick Cummins. Lost to Johnny Walker when Johnny Walker still had some hype. Beat Crew, which was a back and forth fight. Lost to Span, but Span is a big 205. So I'm glad he's making the drop down to middleweight. Jacko, Christoph Jacko is a guy that used to have a whole bunch of hype too. I mean, he was really a talent in 2016. He kind of lost a lot of hype when he lost to David Branch in David Branch's UFC debut. I mean, Branch has always been kind of somebody that just... But David Branch has been popped for steroids. We kind of know what this guy's about. Great grappler, but I mean, I was on Jacko against ladies in a lot of these fights. So Jacko, I mean, guy is tried, true, and tested, man. He's been in the UFC since fucking, I was gonna say by 2013. So I mean, this guy's been around forever. Great talent. He's fought a who's who. Kind of a gatekeeper at this point, but that's fine. Lost to Sean Strickland, but no shame in that. You know what I'm saying? We know what Sean Strickland is. Sean Strickland has developed as a nice middleweight fighter at this point. Beat Eric Anders in a fight that Anders just looked lethargic in. So it's going to be a great fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight, man. If, you know, Jacko wants to keep it standing, Cirkunov wants it on the ground. I say Cirkunov gets it to the ground. I'm going to go with Cirkunov by the submission here. So I'm going to say he gets a submission, but Jacko is not no fish out of water on the ground. He's a great grappler himself. But I'm going to go with Cirkunov here. But Cirkunov definitely needs to get the fight down on the ground. I think the longer the fight goes, it favors Jacko. So I kind of see Cirkunov early, or maybe Jacko by decision, or by late TKO. Don't know what Cirkunov's cardio is like. But I'm looking forward to this fight, guys. I'm glad to see Cirkunov down at middleweight. Let's see what he's got. Jacko's a steady middleweight hand. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. Nico Price against Alex Oliveira. Two guys that have a lot of kids. Nico Price, I think, is the more durable guy at this point. 32 years old. He's 2-fight losing streak. Only lost to Perez and Luque. Wow, I didn't know that either. But I'm gonna go with Price here. He trains with Covington and that. Oliveira, I think he's just played out at this point. I think he's taken a lot of damage, and I think he's still dangerous early. But I'm gonna go with Price here by first round knockout. Kevin Holland against Kyle Dawkins. I think Kevin Holland's going to be back to headlining fight nights here pretty soon. He's training with Johnny Hendricks, a.k.a. getting his wrestling on point. I don't think Kyle Dawkins is nowhere near this guy's level standing. Don't think Kyle Dawkins is really going to have any success taking this to the ground. I see Kevin Holland kind of just teeing off on this dude, man. And as long as Kevin Holland doesn't get stupid, start playing games, and start trying to, you know, test his submission grappling. I mean, he's lost to Vittoria and Brunson, no shame in either of those guys. Beat Jacko right prior to that. You know, like I said, this guy's kind of, I think he's going to stay around at middleweight. He was talking about welterweight for a while. Don't really know. Kyle Dawkins, he's coming off a hard-fought loss to Phil Hawes. No shame in that. Going to be an interesting fight, guys. I'm going to go with Kevin Holland here, and my pick is by first-round knockout. Thiago Santos against Johnny Walker, a fight that, you know, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, MMA is nothing but a big storyline, and there's always storylines. I mean, you know, whether you win or lose, you're going to be matched up on somebody that's kind of running along a parallel line to you, and it's going to have implications, you know, whether you're going to be cut or whether you're going to go on to start a winning streak or what. There's always some implications. And with Thiago Santos right here, this guy, he's a main event fighter. I mean, this guy is a guy that's always in main event fights, especially recently. 37 years old. Him and Yana Kunitskaya are expecting a kid together. 76-inch reach, 6'2". This guy's been in the UFC a long time. He's coming off three losses in a row. No shame to any of those guys. John Jones in a title fight. Glover Teixeira in a main event spot last November in a fight that he dropped Glover right away. He dropped Glover multiple times in that fight. Glover showed resilience, survived. I mean, I had a bet on Glover, so I'm happy. Glover survived and ended up pounding out Santos in that fight, or choked him out. But I mean, Santos is so fucking dangerous, man. And then a loss to Rakic. Rakic just showed you he's a top 5 light heavyweight, very smart IQ fighter, and he was just smarter and just a little more effective than Santos. So no shame in all 3 of those losses. But like I said, the guy has had double knee surgeries, he's had issues, but I mean, this guy's knocked out the current light heavyweight champ. He's destroyed, man. I mean, this guy he's fought a who's who, man. You know, as you know, so I mean, this guy's always dangerous. Don't underestimate this fucking guy. Johnny Walker, this guy, he's shown flashes of gold in a pan, you know, and he's 29 now. He said he's matured. He's definitely got a lot of muscle for that weight class, 82-inch reach, so he's going to have a huge reach advantage here. But this guy fights wild, man. He doesn't keep his reach. He's coming off a win to Span, but he takes damage every fight. Every fight this guy takes damage. You know, so I don't think his chin is very durable at all. I think these guys are gonna swing. If this fight goes outside the first round, I think Thiago Santos is probably gonna pound Johnny out at some point. I'm gonna go with Johnny Walker here by first round knockout. The odds are currently Santos minus 147, Walker plus 137. No value on either side to me. I would need Johnny Walker at a little bit more money for me to take a stab at him. Take a bet on him. But right now, I'm going to pick Johnny Walker by first round knockout. But like I said, I have zero confidence in it. He could get caught. He can knock Santos out. It's going to be wild, guys. I wouldn't want to lay the juice on Santos either. These are my predictions, guys. So thanks for joining me. Here's my predictions. On Tapology,